Little boy ate from pet bowl. With baby brother, until millionaire saw them through window rain. Blurred the city lights into trembling streaks of gold as a man in a black Mercedes slowed before a crumbling old house. Through the fogged glass of the window he saw two children crouched on the floor, eating from a metal pet bowl. His chest tightened. The world stopped breathing. The wipers dragged across the windshield with a tired squeak. Nathan Cole barely noticed. He'd been driving aimlessly for an hour, letting the rain and radio static drown out the thoughts he couldn't silence. The house had caught his eye because it looked forgotten. Sagging porch, broken gutter, one weak bulb burning in the kitchen window. Then he saw them. Two little figures, kneeling on the floor beside a dented metal bowl. A girl, maybe 7, hair tangled, clothes clinging to her skin. A baby beside her, still in a soiled diaper. Both of them scooping food from the same dish meant for a dog. For a moment, Nathan thought he was imagining it. But then the girl looked up, straight through the rain, straight into his headlights. Her eyes weren't blank like he expected. They were full of fear, the kind that comes from silence and survival. He killed the engine, heart pounding in his throat. What kind of world lets a child eat from a pet bowl? He reached for the door handle, then froze as a shadow moved behind the children. A woman, thin, sharp-faced, cigarette glowing between her fingers, snatched the bowl from them and shoved the girl hard enough to make her hit the counter. The baby began to cry, and Nathan's past, the loss he'd buried beneath, money and marble walls ripped wide open. Inside that kitchen, the smell of damp dog food mixed with cigarette smoke. Lila pressed her hand against the bruise on her arm where Aunt Marla had shoved her. She didn't cry. She never cried anymore. It made things worse when she did. Her baby brother Noah whimpered beside her, his cheeks red from hunger. Lila reached for him, humming the song their mother used to sing, soft and off-key. Shh. It's okay, baby. You'll get some tomorrow, maybe. Tomorrow was always a word that meant not today. She'd learned to stretch the lies thin enough to survive on them. Aunt Marla called it tough love, but Lila knew it was hate-wearing lipstick. She said feeding them cost too much, that they were extra mouths since their mother died, and their father never came back from whatever mess he made. Sometimes, when the hunger got too sharp, Lila snuck into the laundry room and shared the dog's food with Noah. It was salty, cold and wrong, but it kept them alive. Tonight she thought they were safe. Aunt Marla had gone out drinking. But when the back door slammed open, Lila's stomach dropped. "You filthy little rats," Marla hissed, snatching the bowl away. "Eating the dog's food again? You think I made a money?" Her hand struck Lila across the face. Noah screamed. Lila grabbed him, whispered, "Quiet, please," and curled around him on the kitchen floor. Outside, she didn't know a man sat in the rain watching, shaking, gripping his steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. Nathan Cole wasn't supposed to be here. He was supposed to be across town at a charity gala, shaking hands and pretending to care. But after losing his wife and daughter in a fire 2 years ago, nothing about pretending felt possible anymore. He built companies, donated millions, bought homes he never lived in. None of it filled the silence. He'd told his driver to take the night off. He wanted to be alone. But now, sitting in front of that broken house, he couldn't shake the feeling that someone had pulled him here. He saw the woman again through the window, dragging the baby away by one arm. That was it. Nathan got out of the car, rain soaking through his coat instantly. He walked up the creaking porch, hesitated only once before knocking. Nothing. Then again. Harder. The porch light flickered. When the door finally opened, the woman squinted through cigarette smoke. "What do you want?" Sorry. My car broke down," he lied quickly. "Could I borrow your phone?" Her eyes flicked past him to the Mercedes parked on the curb. Her lip curled. "That your broke-down car?" Nathan smiled faintly. "Looks better than it runs." Marla exhaled smoke. "Whatever. Make it quick." He stepped inside. The warmth hit him first, then the smell. Unwashed clothes. Rotting food. And under it all, the faint whimper of a baby. Nathan's pulse quickened. He pretended to look for a phone on the counter, but his eyes found the children instead, huddled under the table, silent and small. Something inside him broke all over again. Lila didn't understand who the man was, but she knew danger when she saw it. Aunt Marla only ever smiled that wide when she wanted something. The stranger's coat dripped onto the kitchen tiles. His shoes were too clean for this place. His voice too gentle. "Are those your kids?" he asked. Marla's laugh was dry and mean. "Those? Now my sister dumped 'em on me before she OD'd. I keep 'em alive mostly." "Why, you hiring a babysitter?" Nathan looked down at Lila again. She flinched when he met her eyes, pulling Noah closer. He saw her ribs through her thin shirt. Her lips were cracked, her cheeks hollow. He wanted to say something, anything, but his throat closed. "You're doing a lot," he managed, his voice trembling. "That can't be easy." Marla shrugged, bored. "It's called survival. Some of us don't have $1,000,000 trust funds." Nathan's eyes darted to the corner. Dog bowl still tipped over, food scattered. He knelt to pick it up, his hand shaking. "You feed them this?" Marla's tone turned sharp. "Mind your own business, mister." He rose slowly, something cold and steady replacing his grief. "You're right," he said softly. "It's not my business. But it's about to be." Marla's smile faltered. "What's that supposed to mean?" Nathan took out his wallet, dropped a few bills on the counter. "For the dog food," he said. "I'll be back tomorrow." He left before she could respond. But when he looked through the window one last time, Lila's eyes followed him, pleading, terrified, and silently screaming, "Don't forget us." Nathan didn't sleep that night. He sat in his penthouse, surrounded by glass and silence, replaying that look in the girl's eyes. It wasn't just hunger. It was hopelessness. By 3 a.m. he was pacing. By 4 he was searching records. His assistant owed him favors, he used them all. By dawn he had Marla's full name, address history, and a list of charges for neglect dismissed years ago. He threw on his coat, heart pounding. This wasn't charity anymore. This was personal. When he pulled up again that morning, the house looked smaller, meaner in daylight. He knocked. No answer. Through the window he saw only silence. The bowl was gone. The floor empty. His chest tightened. He tried the back door, locked then, crying, faint from upstairs. He followed it. The hallway smelled of mold. The sound led him to a door padlocked from the outside. He didn't think, just kicked until it splintered. Inside, 2 children huddled in the corner. Lila's face streaked with tears. Noah limp against her chest. "It's okay," Nathan whispered, kneeling down. "I'm here now." Lila blinked at him through tears. She said no one would come. "Well," Nathan said softly, voice breaking. She was wrong. He lifted them both into his arms and carried them out into the morning light, rain still falling. But for the first time in years, Nathan felt like it meant cleansing. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and rain. Nathan sat beside the bed, his coat still damp, watching as the nurse wrapped Noah in a soft blanket. The baby's skin was gray-pale, lips dry. "He's malnourished," the nurse said quietly. "Both of them are. But we'll stabilize them." Lila sat on the other bed, knees drawn to her chest, hospital gown swallowing her thin frame. She watched Nathan with guarded eyes, the kind of look that had learned too early not to trust kindness. "Are we in trouble?" she asked finally. Nathan's throat tightened. "No, sweetheart. You're safe now." She studied him like she wanted to believe but didn't know how. "Safe means we don't get hit anymore," she whispered. He swallowed hard. "Then yes, you're safe." When the doctor came, Nathan stepped into the hallway. "What happens next?" The doctor sighed. "They'll call Child Protective Services. The woman responsible could face neglect and abuse charges, but for now the kids will need a temporary guardian." Nathan stared through the window at Lila stroking her brother's hair. Something inside him shifted, something quiet and certain. "Then I'll be that guardian," he said. The doctor blinked. Sir, I'm already vetted. I fund half this hospital. I can make the calls. The doctor hesitated, then nodded slowly. Nathan turned back to the window. The rain outside was easing, light filtering through. He didn't know why fate had dragged him to that broken house, but he knew this much. Those children weren't going back. 2 days later, the knock came, sharp and impatient. Nathan opened the door to find a social worker and 2 police officers standing in the hallway. Behind them, handcuffed and furious, was Aunt Marla. She looked smaller without her cruelty to fill the space around her. "You think you can steal my sister's kids?" she spat. "You rich people think money means you get to play God." Nathan didn't flinch. "I didn't steal anyone. You lost them the moment you chose not to love them." Marla laughed bitterly. "Love? You think love feeds bellies? Pays rent? You don't know what it's like to be broke and stuck raising someone else's brats." The social worker cleared her throat, stepping between them. "Mr. Cole, the children are under medical observation. You've been approved as temporary custodian while the investigation continues. Ms. Fisher here will be in contact daily." Nathan nodded. His voice softened. "As long as they're safe, that's all that matters." As Marla was led away, she turned one last time. "They'll turn on you too. You'll see. All kids do." Nathan watched her disappear into the elevator, her words echoing in the sterile air. For a long time he stood there, silent. Then he walked back to Lila's room. She looked up from a coloring book the nurses had given her. "Was that her?" He nodded. Lila's shoulders sagged, relief and fear tangling in her eyes. "She won't come back, will she?" Nathan knelt beside her bed. "Not ever again." She didn't say anything, just leaned forward, resting her forehead against his shoulder. It was the first time she had touched anyone without flinching. Nathan's mansion had never looked less like a home and more like a museum. Polished floors, silent halls, a view of the skyline that meant nothing. When he carried Lila and Noah inside, even the walls seemed to hold their breath. Lila stood at the doorway, barefoot, clutching Noah. "Are we allowed in here?" Nathan smiled gently. "It's your home now," her brow furrowed. "Homes have people in them," she said softly. That night Nathan cooked for the first time in years. The food came out burnt, but Lila giggled when he sneezed from the pepper, and that was enough. Noah clapped, his tiny hands sticky with mashed potatoes. They ate together at the long dining table where Nathan had once eaten alone, night after night staring at the 2 empty chairs that used to belong to his wife and daughter. After dinner, Lila wandered through the hallway lined with framed photos. She stopped at one, Nathan with a woman and a little girl about her age. "She was pretty," she said. Nathan's chest ached. "She was," he whispered. "That's my wife, Emma, and our daughter, Grace." "What happened to them?" "Fire," he said simply. "A long time ago." Lila reached up, touched the photo frame. "Then maybe we can be your new family," she said, half shy, half serious. Nathan blinked hard, emotion catching him off guard. "Maybe," he said quietly. "Maybe you already are." Weeks passed. The world adjusted slowly. One bedtime story, one breakfast at a time. But nightmares have long roots. One night, Nathan woke to a scream. He rushed down the hall to find Lila standing by the window, shaking. "She's outside," she whispered. "I saw her." "Aunt Marla." Nathan looked out. The street was empty. Only shadows and rain. But the terror in Lila's voice wasn't imaginary. It was memory clawing back to life. He knelt, holding her shoulders. "She can't hurt you anymore, Lila, I promise." But the promise didn't erase the fear. The next morning, Lila wouldn't eat. Wouldn't speak. The walls of luxury still felt like traps to her. Nathan sat beside her at the breakfast table. "When I lost my daughter," he said softly, "I stopped believing in good things. I thought if I didn't care, I couldn't hurt anymore. But you and Noah, you remind me what it's like to fight for something again." Lila stared at him, tears trembling at the edge of her lashes. "What if you go away too?" Nathan's heart cracked. "Then I'll fight harder not to." He reached across the table, holding her small hand in his. For the first time, she didn't pull away. Outside, the morning rain had stopped completely. The sun broke through the clouds, lighting the silver of her tear tracks like glass. 2 months later, the courtroom felt colder than it should have. Nathan sat behind the children, his hands clasped tight. Across the aisle, Marla's lawyer spoke about hardship, temporary instability, a misunderstood caregiver. But when Lila took the stand, everything changed. She sat small but steady, voice quiet yet unwavering. "She said we were lucky to have food," Lila said. "She said Mommy was crazy and Daddy didn't want us. But he did. He just couldn't find us, and we were scared all the time. Noah cried a lot, and she said if he didn't stop, she'd—" Her words broke, but she lifted her chin again. "Mr. Nathan didn't hurt us. He saved us. He made pancakes. He says please and thank you. He listens." The room went still. Even the judge leaned forward slightly. When the verdict was read, full custody granted to Nathan Cole, Lila turned, eyes wide, as though she couldn't quite believe freedom was real. Nathan opened his arms. She ran straight into them, sobbing into his chest. Outside the courthouse, the sky was blue for the first time since that night. The days after the verdict felt strange, like learning how to breathe again. Lila no longer woke to shouting. Noah giggled more, crawling after the family's golden retriever, Max, who treated him like a misplaced pup. Nathan would catch himself just watching them sometimes. The sound of a child laughing in his home again felt almost unreal. One morning, Lila came into his study, clutching a piece of paper. "It's for you," she said shyly. He unfolded it, a crayon drawing. A tall man with 2 small children standing under a crooked sun. The man was smiling. Above them, in block letters, she'd written "Our family." Nathan swallowed hard. "You drew this?" She nodded, twisting a strand of hair around her finger. "Do you like it?" He smiled through tears. "It's the best thing anyone's ever given me." That evening, he framed it and hung it on the wall beside the photo of his late wife and daughter. For the first time in years, the space between the frames didn't feel like loss, it felt like continuity. That night, when he tucked Lila and Noah in, she asked, "Do you think Mommy and your Grace can see us?" He nodded softly. "I think they brought us together." She smiled, small and sleepy. "Then maybe they're friends now." Nathan kissed her forehead, whispering, "I think they are." Outside, fireflies blinked along the garden. Tiny lights scattered like blessings in the dark. 2 months later, an envelope arrived in Nathan's mail. No return address. Inside was a single piece of lined paper, folded twice. The handwriting was shaky. "Mr. Cole, you don't know what it's like to have nothing. Maybe I deserved prison, maybe not. But those kids, those weren't mine to raise. I just didn't know how to stop falling. I heard they're safe now. Don't let them forget where they came from." Marla. Nathan read it twice, then set it down. He felt no anger, just the deep ache of understanding. Some people broke others because they were broken themselves. That night after dinner, he told Lila gently, "Your aunt wrote a letter. She wanted me to tell you she's sorry." Lila frowned. "Do you believe her?" Nathan thought for a moment. "I think she's trying to remember what being human feels like." "That's a start." Lila was quiet. Then she said, "I forgive her, but I don't want to see her." "That's okay," he said softly. "Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It just means you're free now." When Lila went to bed, Nathan looked again at the drawing on the wall. He realized something profound. Sometimes the greatest wealth isn't in what you gain, but in what you finally let go. That winter, another storm came, the kind that drummed against the windows and made the world feel far away. Lila stood at the same window she used to watch the rain through, her reflection older somehow, no longer hollow-eyed, but thoughtful. Nathan joined her, a mug of cocoa in his hands. "What are you thinking about?" She shrugged. "About how last time it rained like this I was scared we'd never be found." Nathan's heart squeezed. "And now?" She smiled, faint and calm. "Now I like the sound. It means we're warm inside." Nathan wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. "You saved your brother that night, you know," he said quietly. "You kept him alive." Lila looked up at him, serious. "You saved us both." He shook his head. "Maybe we saved each other." In that moment, thunder rolled over the city. But inside their home it sounded less like fear and more like forgiveness. Spring came with color and laughter. For the first time, Lila celebrated her birthday with cake, balloons, and friends from school. Nathan watched from the kitchen doorway as she leaned over the cake, eyes closed, whispering a wish. When she blew out the candles, he asked softly, "What did you wish for?" She smiled. "Nothing. I already got it." Later that night, when everyone had gone home and Noah was asleep, Lila found Nathan in the garden. The moonlight glowed on her small face. "You know what's funny?" she said. "I used to think people like you didn't care about kids like us." He smiled gently. "Maybe people like me needed to remember how." Lila nodded, thoughtful. "Then maybe everyone just needs someone to see them through the window." Nathan froze for a moment. Those words sank deep, echoing the night everything changed. He smiled, eyes shining. "Maybe that's the truest thing I've ever heard." A year later, the same window that once showed suffering now glowed with laughter. Nathan stood by it, looking out at the street below as the rain returned. Gentle this time, not punishing. Behind him, Lila and Noah built a pillow fort in the living room, Max barking happily. Nathan smiled, pressing his palm to the cool glass. Sometimes he still saw ghosts there, the boy he once was, the father he lost, the little girl and baby he found. But now those ghosts didn't haunt him. They guided him. He turned to see Lila waving. "Come on, Dad. You're missing story time." "Coming," he said, and for the first time, the word Dad didn't feel borrowed. It felt earned. He joined them under the blankets, the sound of rain wrapping around the house like a song. The window blurred again, but this time it wasn't hiding pain. It was holding love. And somewhere in the quiet, you could almost hear two mothers whispering to the night. They made it. If this story touched your heart, don't let it fade into silence. Hit subscribe, tap like, and ring the bell icon, so you never miss the stories that remind us love still exists, even in the darkest rain, because sometimes seeing someone through a window can change everything.